I am browsing eBay for a flusher. So I'm going to hook up an older motor to the garden hose. Found this. $86. No. I wish you could use these kind of things on the older motors, but you simply can't. But anyway, here's another one. Oh my Lord and Savior, that is a lot of money for something so small and so simple. You know, it's not really much to it. Oh, praise be. One that isn't ridiculous. Finally. Yeah, well, that's some of it. The important part's not there, though. Now, if you had the other half, then it's worth its weight in gold, but otherwise, yeah, not so much. Now, the $125 one here, this is already ended, but it shows you what it fits, which is the 5.5, 7.5, 10, 14, 15, blah, blah, blah. The 5.5 is kind of the important part. See, the 5.5s and the 6 horsepowers use a very similar lower unit. Pretty much identical up as far as the shape goes up until the mid-70s when they changed the little fin design to more of a square than round. But that 5.5 also means it'll fit a 6. That's kind of what it looks like. Now, the instructions here, if you find one of these, you're probably never going to find the instructions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the instructions photos that he took, and then I'm going to upload them to this video just so they're out there, because in 17 days I believe it's going to hit its 90-day thing where eBay no longer shows this item, and I think anybody looking for these little instructions, they're going to be long gone. So I'm going to save them and I'll put them on the end of the video. So we have some listings here of what the other models they have offer, such as the 916 looks like TFC. It would fit a Johnson Evinrude 60, 75, 80, and 90 horsepower. So, you know, there's 2 guys in the country fixing one of those things up that might want this thing. And then we have the 917 TFA. That fits the Johnson Evinrude 25, 28, 30, 33, 35, and 40. There are plenty of those out there. But then we go to this one, the 918 FFA. Johnson Evinrude 5.5, 7.5, 9.5, 10, 14, 15, 18, 20, and 20 and 50 horsepower. So the 918 FFA, that is a whole much better option, I think, because there's so many more people out there fixing up a 5.5 or a 7.5 or a 9.5 or a 10 horsepower than there are people fixing up an old 33 horsepower. So if you were going to want one or get one, the 918 FFA really would be what you wanted, and it fits a whole range of motors that are common for people to want, use, and to fix up. The 917 TFA, close runner-up, but 25 to 33, well, 25 to 40 horse, not as common as, you know, a 5.5. And then over here we also have a couple others. The 919 TFD fits a Mercury, so who cares? A 921 also fits Mercury, who really cares? 925 TFH fits the home light. Now that's funny, because let's say you had one of these and we're trying to sell it. I mean, good luck selling it. Now let's say you had a home light and you wanted one of these. Well, good luck finding one. It's kind of funny when you have something that rare, your buyer is also that rare. And I don't really even think somebody who had a home light would pay very much money for one of these. You might get $10 for it, but you're not going to bring it in anywhere near close to the amount the 918 FFA brings in. We got a couple other ones here. 920 Mercury, who cares? 922 Mercury again. And then we have 926 TFO fits the OMC stern drive. Again, not that interesting compared to the 918. No, well, here are a couple more. The 927 TFO fits the OMC stern drive. The 929 TFO fits a Johnson Evinrude 66 to 100 horsepower. And then we have the 928 fits a Chrysler. And 930 TFO, another stern drive. Now in his listing here, we also see the original selling price, $495. At least that's what I think it is. According to Google, That's a $47 and $11 part in today's money. And if that's accurate, you can see why there's really not very many of these around. This $50 is $50. You know, that's a lot of money. So here is my little collection of these things. This is my little drawer of flushers. So this came on my pontoon boat motor. I liked it, so that's why I hung on to it. I thought there were actual markings on here, though. There it is. Let's see who makes this thing. So it's a 941 MFL. So here is the 941 MFL. As you can see, we can still buy it for $21 plus some shipping. Not really worth anything. So really, this is just the equivalent of modern muffs. You know, they're not really worth anything. Muffs are just easier. So we've seen this flusher before. It works fine. You got to be careful with it because these are pretty skinny and pretty flimsy. You can easily bend them, and it's, you know, it's work to put it on. Now this little guy is really what we're here talking about today. And here's the one I have. This is the... Also, I think the eBay sellers polish these things up, you know, really make them shiny. Anyway, this is the 917 TFA. So this is for, you know, the 20 to 30 or 20 to 40 horsepower motors. I can tell you with absolute certainty it does not fit the 6s. So yeah, this one was actually given to me by some local buddies of mine, Doug and Blake. Well, Doug owned the boat it was sitting on, and it was stored over Blake's house. Now, those, of course, aren't their real names, you know, respecting their privacy here. Now, at the time, I thought, like, oh, great, that'll go great with my little vintage flusher collection I have. I didn't know they were actually worth so much. Well, this one was worth as much as the smaller one, but it still has some value to it. Had I known, I probably wouldn't have accepted it. Like, you know, just told him, hey, man, I need to sell the thing on eBay. But, you know, now that it's here, finders keepers, you know what I mean? So that's the one I have. But I also have that really expensive one that you saw on eBay. I don't have the instructions with it, but don't really need them. I say that because a collector, they would expect the box, the instructions, and the box to have both of its little inner flaps here. However, I don't actually plan on just collecting this. My plan is to actually, you know, use it when the time comes. So a little comparison here. The, let's call it a 20 horsepower version, much bigger than the little 6 horsepower version. The hose adapter is the same size, of course, but it's physically larger. The spring mounting is located on the bottom, to where in the bigger one it's not. It uses the holes on the side. However, as does this one. So I thought that was pretty odd, because if they're not using it, and this is a different stamping and shaping than this one, why the holes? Maybe another model would use the holes, I don't know. So yeah, that's this one. If you notice something funny, they do use the same 2 top plates. So if the guy on eBay that has just this lower half found the upper half and some stainless springs, he could then recreate, you know, an entire thing. But here's the problem with a lot of vintage Evinrude tools that I run into. This is stamped barely what it is. The top plate is not. So let's say he found the bottom half somewhere, and then the top half was somewhere else in whatever random storage unit or whatever he bought. You wouldn't know what this is unless you're really in the know. You know, so this probably won't pop up for sale separately unless somebody who knows it, recognizes it, sees it, finds it, and, you know, goes to sell it. You're never going to find that for sale. A lot of the older Evinrude seal installers are that same problem. They're not engraved with their part number. So you have this random tool and you don't know what it is. And, you know, unless you have a way to reference it, which you don't, you're basically not going to be able to sell it or buy it, because the person can't sell it, you can't buy it. So that's kind of the problem with some Evinrude tools on the old eBay. So anyway, let's go hook the little one up and we'll show you how it works. So here is a 5.5 horsepower, at least outboard / lower unit. Let me get the flusher, or garden hose attacher, you could call it. Springs would need to come up over here. Oh, geez, that's pretty tight, but it's on there. And It's not easy to get it on and off. Those springs are quite tight, but it's definitely holding it on there. And quite well. Now, as it's shooting water into those intake screen holes, you might have a problem if your intake screen is clogged. And here we have the 6 horsepower lower. Put it on like so. As you can see, it's perfect. Now this little 7.5 horse, it uses the same lower unit as the 5.5, so it's definitely going to fit that. The same goes for this 50s 5.5 horse. It's got the same little lower, so definitely going to fit that. And this is the 9.5, and it uses the same shape lower as the 6 does, so it'll definitely fit that as well. So you can see the common theme of why that one is so desirable, just because it fits all kinds of things. And it's pretty nice. This wouldn't really be one of my videos if we weren't having a pile of hypotheticals here. So let's say you want to head out in the water and you want to make sure your engine's going to start before you go. So you want to fire it up, just make sure you don't have any problems. Well, with one of these, normally you'd get a bucket. And with a bucket, okay, it somewhat fits, but the water pump is here. You want the water about here. It's not really going to work. But, you know, you can stack some 2x4s or bricks or whatever you have under there to hold this bucket up higher for you, so you can at least get most of the water to where you want it. Now, the problem is that bucket doesn't go up very far. When you start that motor, 5 seconds, that bucket needs more water. It's pretty annoying. It's really a lousy way to do it. Like, water is going to be squirting out here, bubbling out over the top. It goes everywhere. So the bucket, it kind of sucks. It's most people's only real option. And really, that's if you're on a stand. If you think about it, most boat owners, they don't have an outboard stand. Their outboard is sitting on the back of their boat, which is probably going to be a lot higher off the ground than that stand is. In which case, you're wheeling over a hoist or getting some chain or something on here to hold this up. It really sucks. And unless you want to unscrew that thing every time and use one of those other flushers, it's kind of a problem. Now, granted, I have a test tank, but most people don't. Like, really, no boat owner has a test tank. Very, very few people have an outboard test tank. Now, let's say it's also, you know, wintertime and you want to drain the gas out of it because you can't get ethanol-free fuel. And you need a way to start it, and you're back to dealing with that annoying bucket. Something came to mind here. If you don't have this on right, do not adjust it when your motor's running, because, I mean, you're going to lose a finger, I think. So, you know, important safety tip. Also, I think another desire for one of these is if you use one of these engines in salt water, you want to flush the salt out when you get back, which is honestly probably what they're designed for. So there you have it, the Tempo Dry Land Test Flush. It checks outboard motors with a garden hose in your hand. It snaps over water intake with no tools required. I think it's a very handy tool that fits a wide range of desirable outboards. At least the 918 FAA. This one, at least in my world, not so much. Still handy, just not as handy as this little one's going to be. And I think everybody could benefit from having one. It's better than a bucket by all means. And it doesn't require you to unscrew the little intake screen in order to attach another device to hook up the hose. It's just quicker, easier, and debatably better. So I think it's a very nice thing to have. Unfortunately, you can't get them anymore. So who knows anything about metal stamping? You know, especially DIY at-home metal stamping, because that's not that hard. I mean, the brazing and the hose connector, yeah, that's hard. But I think we could copy this thing.